Title: The Shadows of Oba's Reign. Part 1: The Chosen One. The night air hung heavy over the ancient city of If. Torches flickered along the palace walls, casting long shadows that danced like restless spirits. Inside the royal chambers, Queen Adebola paced back and forth, her ornate robes rustling with each step. The time had come. "Bring me the child," she commanded, her voice barely above a whisper. Two guards bowed low and hurried from the room. Moments later they returned, a squirming bundle held between them. The infant's cries pierced the tense silence. Queen Adebola approached, her eyes fixed on the child. "Is this the one?" An old woman stepped forward from the shadows. Her face was etched with wrinkles, and her milky eyes seemed to see beyond the physical world. "Yes, my queen. This is the child the gods have chosen." The queen nodded, a mixture of triumph and fear flickering across her face. She reached out and took the baby, cradling it close to her chest. "Then it is done. From this day forward, you shall be known as OLAYINKA, for the gods have surrounded you with honor." As if in response to her words, a gust of wind extinguished the torches, plunging the room into darkness. The old woman's voice cut through the blackness. "Remember, my queen, great power comes at a great price. The path ahead is treacherous." Queen Adebola squared her shoulders. "I am ready to pay whatever price is necessary. If we'll rise, and our enemies will tremble before us." Little did she know, the price would be higher than she could ever imagine. 18 years passed in the blink of an eye. Olayinka grew into a formidable young woman, her very presence commanding respect and fear in equal measure. She stood atop the city walls, surveying the lush forest that surrounded Ife. The wind tugged at her braided hair, adorned with gold beads that clinked softly with each movement. "Princess," a voice called from behind her. "The queen requests your presence." Olayinka turned, fixing the messenger with a piercing gaze. The man visibly flinched. "Tell her I'll be there shortly." As she made her way through the bustling streets, people scrambled to clear a path. Whispers followed in her wake. "There goes the chosen one. They say she can kill with a single touch. I heard she speaks to the dead." Olayinka ignored them all. Let them whisper, let them fear. It only made her stronger. The palace loomed before her, a testament to Ife's power and wealth. Guards snapped to attention as she passed, their eyes carefully averted. Olayinka strode into the throne room where Queen Adebola sat, resplendent in her royal attire. "Mother," Olayinka said, inclining her head slightly, "you summoned me?" The queen's face was grave. "It's time, my daughter. The Oyo Empire grows bolder by the day. Their armies march ever closer to our borders." Olayinka's eyes gleamed with anticipation. "Then let them come. We'll crush them as we've crushed all who've dared to challenge us." Queen Adebola shook her head. "It's not that simple. Our spies report that the Oyo have made a dark alliance. They've enlisted the help of a powerful Babalawo, a sorcerer who wields magic beyond our understanding." For the first time, a flicker of uncertainty crossed Olayinka's face. "What kind of magic?" The queen's voice dropped to a whisper. "They say he can raise the dead, that he commands an army of shadows that feel no pain, no fear." Olayinka's hand instinctively went to the amulet around her neck, the symbol of her chosen status. "Then we must strike first. Let me lead our forces to—" "No," Queen Adebola cut her off. "This threat requires a different approach. You must undertake a dangerous journey, deep into the heart of the Forbidden Forest. There, you'll find the shrine of Orinmila, the god of wisdom and divination. Only he can grant you the power to defeat this evil." Olayinka's eyes widened. The Forbidden Forest was a place of legend, said to be home to all manner of dark creatures and malevolent spirits. Few who entered ever returned. "When do I leave?" she asked, her voice steady despite the fear coiling in her gut. "Tonight," the queen replied, "under the cover of darkness. You'll take a small group of our most trusted warriors. The fate of Ife rests in your hands, my daughter." Olayinka nodded, her mind already racing with preparations. As she turned to leave, her mother's voice stopped her. "Olayinka," Queen Adebola said softly, "remember what I told you when you were a child. Power always comes at a price. Are you prepared to pay it?" The princess met her mother's gaze, chin raised defiantly. "For Ife, I would pay any price." As Olayinka left the throne room, she failed to notice the shadow that seemed to move of its own accord, detaching itself from the wall and slipping away into the depths of the palace. Night fell over Ife like a shroud. Olayinka moved silently through the deserted streets, her small band of warriors close behind. They were the best of the best, men and women who had proven their loyalty and skill in countless battles. At the city gates, a hooded figure waited. Olayinka recognized the stooped posture and gnarled hands of the old woman who had been present at her naming ceremony all those years ago. "Iya Agba," Olayinka greeted her respectfully. "Have you come to see us off?" The old woman's milky eyes seemed to glow in the darkness. "I've come to warn you, child. The path ahead is darker than you can imagine. Trust not your eyes, for they will deceive you. Trust not your ears, for they will betray you. Trust only in the power that flows through your veins." A chill ran down Olayinka's spine, but she nodded firmly. "I understand. Thank you for your guidance." Iya Agba reached into her robes and pulled out a small pouch. "Take this. Inside, you'll find 3 items. A feather from Orunmila's sacred bird, a pebble from the bottom of the River of Souls, and a single grain of sand from the Hourglass of Time. Use them wisely, for each can be used only once." Olayinka took the pouch, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. With a final nod to the old woman, she signaled to her warriors, and they slipped out of the city gates into the waiting darkness. The forbidden forest loomed before them, a wall of impenetrable black. Strange sounds echoed from its depths, whistles and shrieks that seemed almost, but not quite, human. Olayinka took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. "Remember," she said to her companions, her voice low and intense, "whatever happens, whatever we see or hear, we must reach the shrine of Orunmila. The fate of Ife depends on it." "Remember," she said to her companions, her voice low and intense, "whatever happens, whatever we see or hear, we must reach the shrine of Orunmila. The fate of Ife depends on it." Finally, just as she felt her strength giving out, the trees parted. Before her stood a massive stone structure, covered in vines and moss. Ancient symbols were carved into its surface, pulsing with a faint, otherworldly light. The shrine of Orunmila. Olayinka approached cautiously, her hand on the hilt of her sword. As she reached the entrance, a voice boomed out, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Who dares to seek the wisdom of Orunmila?" Gathering her courage, Olayinka spoke. "I am Olayinka, Princess of